On the 26th of November, a promise laid away. A book of rights and duties was born on Constitution Day. Justice, freedom and equality for every girl and boy. A nation built on dignity and hearts that shine with joy. We are India, strong and free, standing tall in unity. With every voice we proudly say, we celebrate our Constitution Day. We celebrate our Constitution Day. नहीं तेरी मेरी कहानी है, एक प्यार का नगमा है। थैंक यू। A heartiest welcome to our honorable parents, whose presence add a sparkle to this occasion, and a very blissful good morning to our respected MD sir, teachers, and dear students. Today, we proudly present our annual function on the topic Our Constitution, the backbone of the world's largest democracy.
Our constitution is not just a book of rules and laws. It is the symbol of justice, freedom, equality, and unity.
It teaches us to respect every religion, culture, and citizen of our country, and reminds us that despite our differences, we are one nation.
As responsible citizens and the future of India, it is our duty to follow the values of honesty, discipline, respect, and patriotism. Through this presentation, we will showcase the strength, beauty, and spirit of Indian democracy.
So, with great pride and enthusiasm, let us begin our performance dedicated to the glory of our Constitution.
There is no better way to start our morning than remembering the Almighty. I request part of our class to please conduct the morning prayer.
Please stand up, put your right hand on your left shoulder and get ready for the prayer. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high.
Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high.
Where knowledge is free.
Where knowledge is free.
Where world has not been broken up into pieces.
Where the world has not been broken up into pieces.
By narrow domestic walls.
By narrow domestic walls.
Where words come out from the depth of truth.
Where the words come out from the depth of truth.
Where the mind is led forward by thee.
Where the mind is led forward by thee.
Into ever-abiding thought and action.
Into ever-abiding thought and actions.
Into that heaven of freedom.
Into that heaven of freedom.
My Father.
My Father.
Let my country away.
Let my country away.
A single noble thought has the power to ignite a revolution of positive change in society. To fill our morning with positivity, I would like to call Varun from our class on stage to present the thought of the day.
A constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life and its spirit is always the spirit of age. I repeat, my thought, a constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life and its spirit is always the spirit of age.
A group discussion is not about winning an argument. It is about widening your horizon, looking at one idea through multiple minds. Now the students of our class are going to present a group discussion.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we stand on the stage to discuss the backbone of world's largest democracy, the Constitution of India. It isn't just a legal document. It is the living soul of our nation. So let's start with the beating heart, the preamble.
Absolutely. We, the people of India. These 5 words show where the ultimate power lies. It lies with us, the citizens. The preamble sets the vision of equality, liberty, justice, and fraternity.
True, and it also defines India as a Soviet, socialist, secular, and democratic republic. It tells us who we are and what we must strive to become.
But to understand the true value of masterpiece, we must look back how it was built. It took an incredible amount of efforts, brilliant minds, and precisely 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days of rigorous work to finalize it.
That brings us to the visionary body that drafted it, the Constituent Assembly. Originally, before the partition, the Assembly was supposed to have 389 members.
Yes, but after the unfortunate
unfortunate partition of India and Pakistan, the number came down to 299 members who actually sat together to carve out our nation's destiny.
How were these members chosen? That is a fascinating chapter. They weren't chosen overnight. They were selected through a mix of indirect elections and nominations.
Exactly. Out of 299 members, 229 members were elected indirectly by the provincial legislative assemblies. The remaining 17 members were nominated from the princely states.
And let's not forget the diversity. It wasn't just politicians, it included legal experts, freedom fighters, and scholars from all religious and linguistic communities. It also proudly featured 15 dynamic women who shaped our laws.
Incredible! And guiding this entire stellar team as the President of Constituent Assembly was Dr. Rajendra Prasad, but the heavy lifting of drafting the actual text fell on a specific committee.
Right, the drafting committee was headed by none other than the father of our constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. His vision ensured that the social justice became the cornerstone for our democracy.
Dr. Ambedkar had to strike a balance. Our assembly borrowed the best features from around the world. We took the parliamentary system from the UK, fundamental rights from the US, directive principles from Ireland, and emergency provisions from Germany.
It was a truly global synthesis, adapted perfectly to a unique Indian reality.
On November 26, 1949, the Assembly adopted the Constitution, and on 26 January 1950, it came into full effect, which we celebrate as Republic Day.
Let's talk about what this document actually gives us. Part 3 of the Constitution grants us 6 fundamental rights. They are shield against any form of discrimination and tyranny.
Let's list them quickly so everyone remembers. First, the right to equality. Articles 14 to 18 ensures everyone is equal before the law. Second, the right to freedom. Articles 19 to 22 gives us our voice, speech and movement.
Then we have the right against exploitation, articles 23 to 24, protecting the children and vulnerable. Fourth is the right of freedom to religion, articles 25 to 28, making India a truly secular land.
Fifth is the cultural and educational rights, articles 29 and 30, protecting minorities, and finally the most critical one, the right to the constitutional remedies, article 32.
Dr. Ambedkar called Article 32 the heart and soul of the Constitution because if your rights are violated, you can directly march into the Supreme Court to demand justice.
Rights are wonderful, but one-sided coin is useless. Rights cannot exist without responsibilities. This is why Part 4A was added later by the 42nd Amendment in 1976.
Yes, the 11 fundamental duties. While rights protect us, duties remind us what we owe to our motherland. These include simple yet profound values, respecting our national flag and anthem, safeguarding our public properties, protecting our environment, and fostering the spirit of brotherhood. If we demand the right to clean environment, it is our duty not to litter. If we demand the freedom of expression, it is our duty to respect others' boundaries.
Perfectly put, our constitution is a beautiful social contract. It balances power with accountability and freedom with restraint.
To conclude our discussion, the Indian Constitution survives and thrives because it is a living document. It changes with time through amendments, but its basic structures remain unshakable. Let us vow to not just read the Constitution, but to live it every single day. Thank you.
As William Shakespeare rightly said, all the world's a stage. But today our performers are here to capture that entire world in just a few minutes through their skit.
From a divided land to a united democracy, the story of how our constitution was made is nothing short a miracle. To show us what our constitution is and the story behind how it was made, now some students of our class are going to present a short skit.
Scene 1. The classroom. Good morning, students. Sit down. Yesterday we celebrated Republic Day. So tell me, what did you learn?
Ma'am, actually what is a constitution and why do we need it?
Excellent question, Roho. Before I answer that, excuse me, ma'am, can you please firstly ask him why he didn't come for games period yesterday?
Because nobody follows the rules when we play. It's totally unfair.
He just answered your question, Rohan.
How?
Just like you can't play a game fairly without rules, the country can't run smoothly without them either.
Oh, so the Constitution is like the rule book of a country, ma'am?
Exactly, it guarantees our basic rights and keep everything fair and equal. Wow, that's awesome. But ma'am, who wrote this ultimate rule book? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He was the chairman of the drafting committee and known as the father of the Constitution.
Ma'am, we always hear about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. But my grandfather told me there were hundreds of members in the Constituent Assembly. Who decided who will do what and who assigned their duties?
That is a brilliant question, Shrishti. The choices were in random. Every key member chosen based on the specific expertise, legal scholars, administrators, freedom fighters and pioneering women. In fact, to understand how each person got their duty, let us travel back to the time December 1946. Scene 2. The Constituent Assembly 1946.
Welcome to the year 1946. India stands on the threshold of freedom. Over 300 members gathered to create a supreme law for over 3 million citizens of diverse faiths, languages, castes and genders. Let us witness how this great architect took up their historical duties.
Order in this historic house. Today, December 9th, 1946, as the oldest member of the suggest body, I am deeply honored to preside as your interim president for our inaugural session. We gather here not merely as representatives, but as trustees of India's future. Our duty is to lay down a democratic foundation that time itself cannot shake. Let us begin this noble pilgrimage with wisdom, integrity and absolute devotion to the people of India. With our inaugural foundation laid, I now hand over the gavel to our unanimously elected permanent president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad.
Thank you, Dr. Sinha, for guiding our first historic step. Colleagues, drafting a constitution for a newly born, vast nation requires specialized mastery. We must allocate responsibilities strictly according to each member's proven acumen. Sir B.N. Rao, as our constitutional advisor, why have you assembled legal texts from across the globe?
Mr. President, a great constitution learns from human history. I have researched and synthesized the fundamental laws of over 60 democracies, including US, Ireland, Britain, and Switzerland. Based on this exhaustive research, I have prepared the initial baseline draft to serve as our working blueprint.
Unmatched legal research. That is precisely why you were appointed the constitutional advisor, to give us a solid foundation grounded in global precedent.
A baseline draft is vital, Mr. President. but a draft remains words on paper, unless it binds every corner of this land. We have over 500 princely states, diverse tribal regions, and vulnerable communities who need an absolute guarantee of their rights.
Indeed, Sardar Patel and as the member of the Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, we must ensure that rights are granted for every individual regardless of caste or gender.
Srimati Hansa Mehta, your relentless advocacy on advisory committee is precisely why we need your voice to draft our fundamental right clauses. Your instances that right belongs to all citizens give our drafts is truly moral authority.
Let us ensure that equality is not just a legal phrase but an active remedy. As the youngest member of this assembly, a voice for a marginalized, I demand that our constitution has clearly outlawed and untouchability and forced labor once for and for all.
Well spoken, Srimati Dakshani. Your lived experience ensures our fundamental rights, address historical injustices, and on.
Together on advisory committee, we shall ensure unity, trust, and fundamental equality remains our bedrock.
And versatile to the spirit that guides our nation's vision, I frame objective resolution defining India's independent sovereign republic committed to justice, liberty, equality. I select the union power and union constitution to ensure our federal structure remain strong and yet balanced. Now comes the core responsibility, taking all these ideals, research notes and committee reports and synthesizing them into a rigorous legal text. For this, we need a legal genius who can draft every clause with flawless precision. I propose that Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar to be appointed as chairman of drafting committee.
I strongly support this proposal. Dr. Ambedkar's profound command of constitutional law and his relentless commitment to social justice make him uniquely qualified to shape our legal framework.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I accept this responsibility with profound humility. Drafting a constitution is not merely an academic exercise in law. It is a creation of living instrument of social transformation together with eminent legal minds like Aladi Krishna Swamy, Iyer for judiciary frameworks, K.M. Munshi for democratic rights, and Gopala Swamy Iyengar for federal relations, and T.T. Krishnamachari for financial structures. We will ensure that this constitution guarantees liberty, equality, and fraternity for every citizen of India.
Scene 3. Back to the classroom.
Wow, ma'am. So every person was given a duty based on what they knew, best law, research, administration, equality, or unification. Exactly, Sia. It was a masterpiece of teamwork and specialized genius. That's why our constitution stood strong for decades.
From Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, inaugural vision to Dr. Ambedkar's legal genius and the courageous voices of pioneering women. Each member contributed their unique strength to build the foundation of free India.
Thank you.
Ghungroos do not just make sound, they echo the heartbeat of our heritage. Now I invite students of my class for a classical dance performance.
welcome Sejal and Swastika to recite an inspiring poem on the Indian Constitution.
The shield of our nation.
In a land of colors wide and red, a sacred book protects our land. Written wisdom, heart and care by visionaries who had dreamed to share.
From the mountainside to the deep blue sea, it blinds us all in unity. Sovereign, secular, republic and world, a story of rights and duties told. It is the shield that guards the small, ensuring equality for one and all. O Constitution, our pride, our guide, with you our strength, we walk with pride. Thank you.
To touch our soul with the magic of words, let's welcome Yoshna and Paras for a beautiful Hindi poem.
संविधान का निर्माण और मान। गुलामी की जंजीरें टूटी जब नया सवेरा आया था, देश चलाने के खातिर फिर एक नया विचार समाया था। बैठ सभा में ज्ञानी जन ने 2 साल 11 महीने लगाए, 18 दिन की कठिन लगन से पावन नियम बनाए। बाबा साहेब की लेखनी ने शब्दों को नया मुकाम दिया, हर शोषित और वंचित को जीने का सच्चा नाम दिया। राजेंद्र बाबू की अध्यक्षता में यह पावन ग्रंथ निखर पाए। 26 नवंबर 1949 को पूरा भारत मुस्कुराया। लागू हुआ जब ये देश में गणतंत्र का उत्सव छाया था, जाति धर्म के भेद मिटाकर सबको गले लगाया था। यह केवल कानून नहीं है, लोकतंत्र की धड़कन है, जिसके आगे शीश झुकाता भारत का हर जन्म है, जिसके आगे शीश झुकाता भारत का हर जन्म है। धन्यवाद।
Every dance is an untold story, where the stage is canvas and the dancer is the brush.
Honoring the legacy of Bharat Kumar, Manoj Kumar ji, let's welcome our young dancer as they bring his timeless song to life on stage.
दिल में समा जाते हैं और राष्ट्र की स्मृति बन जाते हैं। हिंदुस्तानी सिनेमा में वो स्मृति कहलाती है मनोज कुमार। और यही से देश ने उन्हें भारत कुमार का नाम दिया।
Yeah.
किसान की मिट्टी और जवान की वर्दी एक हो गई और गूंज उठा वो गीत। मेरे देश की धरती, मेरे देश की धरती सोना उगले उगले हीरे मोती। मेरे देश की धरती, मेरे देश की धरती, मेरे देश की धरती सोना उगले उगले हीरे मोती। मेरे देश की धरती, मेरे देश की धरती। मनोज कुमार जी ने फिल्म के लगातार कई पुरस्कार जीते। उन्हें देश ने फिल्मों में उनके योगदान को देखते हुए पद्मश्री पुरस्कार से भी नवाजा और भारतीय सिनेमा का सर्वोच्च पुरस्कार दादा साहब फाल्के पुरस्कार भी मनोज कुमार को मिला।
अब के बरस तुझे